This has to be one of the most controversial guitars Martin has ever made. And this is why. It's a relic burst finish. I'm sure some of you have already made a decision, but persevere. Let's find out if after a few minutes with me, it changes your mind. Either way. In this video, I'm going to play it as an acoustic with a mic. I'm going to plug it into my orange acoustic amp, and I'm going to DI it as well so you can hear those 3 different types of sounds. Then I'll put it on the bench for a close-up look at how Mexican Martins are made. Maybe they're marvelous. And at the end of this video, I'll let you know if I think this is worth your hard-earned cash. So, time to mic it up and hear what it sounds like as an acoustic. The mic I've got right here is the LCT-140 Air from Lewitt. It's a small condenser, and if I go to this top-down camera I've got in my hand, that's roughly how far it is away from the guitar, which is about 6 inches. I know on my side camera it looks a lot further. It isn't. I can touch it with my hand. That's the mic situation. I also have it plugged in, but I will let you know if I ever switch from the mic to the DI. Now, as it's an acoustic, I've been playing this for a few days in my garden and various other places where I like to play guitar. And my first impressions of this is that it's a very bright, produced sound. So there's note separation, there is clarity, and it's a weird sound from a Martin for me. It's a very modern sound rather than a vintage sort of D28, D18 sort of sound, which I associate with Martin. So this thing is definitely built for the modern musician. And it feels modern as well. Although the front is this relic finish, which we'll talk about in a bit, everything else is brand new. Well, the whole thing is brand new, but the rest of the guitar is not distressed in any way. Let's do some strumming. Now, there are some acoustics that seem to be better strummers and some seem to be better finger pickers. And of course, it's a spectrum rather than black and white. And this one, however, is more towards the finger picky end of the spectrum because sounds okay, but for me, the guitar sounds better when you're having some separation. Rather than actually that sounded pretty good. What I'm trying to say, this one. My heavy-handed strumming is kind of overpowering the guitar a little bit there. I think it might still sound good. I don't know. I can feel the guitar. I feel I'm on the edge of pushing the guitar too far then. And when I'm doing this, it feels like we're one and together. I hope that makes sense. In the spirit of that statement, I'll do some finger picking now. And I'll switch between the mic sound and the DI sound. But don't judge the DI too harshly because although I'll add a little bit of reverb, I'm not going to EQ it, so this is just directly out of the guitar. And normally we would EQ a DI signal, but I'm not going to for this bit. Now I can't hear that because it's going to the DI, so I'll do it again later on the amp so I can hear it, but that's what it sounds like through the DI, and now's probably a good time to plug into that orange. No. In the spirit of keeping things authentic, I'm leaving that bun note in there, but this is how I am used to playing acoustic guitar, with a guitar with a pickup in it, an amp, and sometimes a looper. And this is super fun. It does still sound like a piezo under the bridge, I guess. But it sounds like a good one. Or at least it sounds... What am I saying? I was so into that groove then that I've lost the ability to speak. I like the sound. There is a lot of reverb on that. I'm going to dial it back just a little bit, or quite a lot. There we go. I'm just going to turn the amp off, or rather turn the volume down. There we go. There's a little lacking in bass in that, and it's partly to do with the body, but a lot to do with the amp. Hang on. Let me... There, I just didn't want to give you a false sense of how bassy this is, because if I just put it through the vocal mic for a second... There's not a lot of bass there. It sounds like a small little guitar, because it kind of is. It's more parlor than it is dreadnought. Yeah. I really dig it. It's lightweight. We're going to find out how heavy it is exactly soon. It feels like a Martin. It looks like a Martin. It just happens to be made in Mexico. And it has this... Oh! It has this... Is there a thing on the scratch plate? I don't want to accidentally pull the scratch plate off. It looks like there is. A protective film. Now, what if there is, I'm leaving it on there because it looks pretty good. Right, let's get some pick back in there. I'm going to play with this tone knob and go from one extreme to the other. Here's all the way one way. All the way the other way. It's a very, very modern sound. It's bright, the one way, so this is all the way that way. And then when you do that, it suddenly goes, blah, it's alive. And it kind of scares me. It jumps out in those high frequencies, and it's not as compressed. But I like it. And then in that loop that I was doing, having that ability to switch between those two sounds was really intuitive, because I could do the rhythm part, the loop, with the slightly deader sound, and then the lead part with more of an alive sound. I really dig it. I'm not sure how it would sit on its own, like probably there. There. When you compare looks to sound, I'm a little bit confused, because it sounds like a small-bodied guitar. So in that sense, it sounds what it looks like and what it feels like. But it also looks like a relic guitar with some distress. And it doesn't sound like that at all. It doesn't sound old. It sounds brand new and up-to-date and poppy and clear and balanced. And from something that would have this kind of distress to it, would normally sound, let's say, warmer and woody, for want of better terms. And there's lots of mids in this and a lack of bass, which is not bad. It sounds like a smaller bodied guitar rather than a big bassy one, which is obvious because it is small. Am I getting that across, you know? Which is why maybe sometimes some people are having issues with this relic. So let's talk about that. I like this relic. I'm aware that it is not real. I'm aware that there's some poser-ishness behind this kind of thing, but I like it. And I doubt you're going to be on the fence with this. You're either going to be with me or totally against me. So make sure you comment down below and tell me how much you agree with me. But I dig that. I love these burst finishes, and I think that gives it some character. I'm just a little confused that it doesn't sound like that. So I'd be happy to gig this a lot and actually give it some wear. And the feel of it feels brand new from this side, and it's very satiny and smooth. There's no gloss there at all. There's no noises. That's kind of open pore. Yeah, right. I hope that's explained that part. Let's get it on the bench and have a little look under the hood. The first thing I want to talk about is this tuner. It is absolutely phenomenal for this reason. It's angled at the player, and there's no cutaway in the body anywhere for any EQ or tuner lights. So when you have it in the playing position, it looks like this, and that is angled up at you, the player. So if I turn it on with a little switch in there, it powers up, and you can see if your guitar's in tune, which it isn't. There we go. And as for the rest of the Martin E1 preamp system, we've got the volume wheel just there, the tone wheel just there, and then underneath is a phase switch. That's a soft button, and then this other soft button is for that tuner over there. Fantastic. And I'm really into this tuner. I don't know if someone else has done it before, but this is the first time I've seen it. Let's talk woods. We've got solid spruce for the top. Then we have the back and sides in sapele, which looks very mahogany-ish and feels a little bit unfinished in a good way. I like that. Then as for the neck, which is very satin and very smooth, this is select hardwood. And I don't know what Martin mean by that, but that's what it says in the specs list. Then as for the bridge, we've got FSC certified rich light, and that's the same as the fingerboard. So it looks a bit like ebony, and you probably know about rich light and probably have some opinions on it. All I can say is that it feels great and sounds great. Inside, the X bracing is also spruce, and this is a mortise and tenon joint here for the neck and body, which joins at the 14th fret. The bridge pins are plastic, but the saddle is tusk, and the nut is white corian, with the top of that being high-pressure laminate Brazilian rosewood. It's got open back butterbean tuners, which are Grover, and then we have a strap button just here and one just there as well. And as we're down there, that's where you plug the guitar in, and then you can access that. If I open it like that, that's a 9-volt battery in there. So, let's weigh it. So if I tear that and place it on, we have 1.8 kilos or 3 pounds 16 4 pounds. How does it say 3 pounds 16 ounces? Okay, it's a 4-pound guitar. The only issue that I have with this guitar really is the price point, and not because I don't think it's worth it, but because there are going to be some people asking, well, why should I buy that instead of X brand or X model? Because it's so competitive at around the price that this is. And the only way I can answer that is to say, if you want a Martin that looks a little bit different, has a pickup system, is smaller, is perfectly intonated and plays like a dream, then this is highly recommended. If you don't like the look of this, and this has turned you off already, which probably means you're not watching this bit, then there is another guitar in the Junior series which has very similar specs to this, but it has a normal top without all the distressing and no sunburst finish. But I, for one, absolutely love that. The Junior series do come with padded gig bags, and they are very decent indeed. They're pretty on the inside, and you've got this sort of neck support, which looks, it's got a zip on it. Oh, it does come off. What's that in there? Oh, it's just for unzipping. But there's a secret compartment in there. Then you've got a pad on the bottom, or is that a bag? It's just a little pad. But again, could hold secrets. I don't know what it is with me and secrets today. But then we've got Martin & Co., established 1833, written on the front. Or sorry, sewn into the front. Then some very useful pockets inside. And these zips are absolutely great. There's like a kind of, it looks kind of waterproof-y or water resistant in that zip. And then you've got a lot of pockets within the pockets. And then inside, we have a battery advert to show that Martin are using sustainable batteries. And it also comes with a guarantee. Mine is written in German. You'll probably get something different if you don't live where I live. Okay, back to the guitar. Who's it for? Well, someone who wants to plug in, have something small, have Martin written on the headstock, and have a modern sound. If you're after something that is more vintagey, more what it looks like, I don't think this is going to support that sound. That's not to say that you can't make it sound that. It just sounds beautifully bright with Martin strings on. So yeah, I dig it hard. I think it's one of my favorite acoustic guitars I've ever played. It is a bit on the more expensive side, but it does have Martin written on the headstock. Links to this are in the video description and possibly the first comment. Go take a look. And while you're down there, click the subscribe button and leave me a comment. Tell me what you think of this Martin StreetLegend. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. This, gotta mute those strings. Oh, turn the tuner off. Don't go. Oh no, there's one for the final screen. Did Andy ever get the pick out of the Martin guitar? Tune in next week.